So today we are going to read The Dot by Peter Reynolds. He's my author crush. We talked about that because I loved him. How many of you have heard this book before? Awesome. So those of you reading it the first time, you are getting the opportunity to simply figure out the story because that's what our brain wants to do the first time we hear something. The rest of you have the opportunity to not only listen to the story and enjoy it again, you also have the opportunity now to figure out what Peter Reynolds is doing as a writer and an illustrator because he uses color throughout the book also to help tell the story. So you're paying attention to how did he do that and not just what does it say. Does that make sense? Okay, so The Dot by Peter Reynolds. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti stared at the little boy's squiggle, and then she said, what's she gonna say? Please sign it. Because what's her art? Her art was a bunch of, and what could his art become? Who knows? Yes. So, he might be. So as we take a look at what Peter Reynolds is doing, the message is if you have nothing on the page, what do you have? Nothing. So today as a writer, and I want you to think about this in two capacities. Yesterday we watched the video about nice things to say to people. What was the nice thing that someone said to Vashti that stuck with her? Now sign it. Yep, and then they just displayed it, right? So do you think that those words had impact on her? Yeah, like that dot. Yeah, that action of framing it, like her picture was worth framing, and it was just a dot. So what I want for you to think about today as writers is when you go back to your seat, how can you create a dot? Now, some of you who has a story already going, like you're writing and you sat down and you're like, I'm in soupy land and we're eating soup. I don't know. Cool. How many of you are like, you wrote blah, blah, blah last time? Like you were writing about how you didn't know what to write about and she keeps talking to me and good. Well, Drew, I today drew beautiful pictures. Now, here's what I wonder. Does this count as writing? Absolutely. I had a student earlier whom I took a picture of this. He said he had no ideas on what to write about. So we sat and talked for a minute and we were talking about amulet because there's like the necklace that glows. My favorite list for you all to do for writing, because we talk about how writers steal, we borrow. Okay. And so we took the idea of a magical item and said, well, what's one magical item? He goes, a robot. And I'm like, what would the robot do? How would it work? Where would it go? Cool. What's another magical item? An emerald? Cool. What would it do? How would that work? What do you mean it's a hologram? Do you walk into it? How does that work? And the last one, the person next to us was listening because that's what great conferencing is. And he goes, what about a magical glove? And like each finger does something neat. Cool. And I was totally into it. And then I said, okay, does this count as writing? And do you know what his answer was? No. So what I need you to realize is if you are putting words on paper, you are writing, and you need to give yourself credit for that. So today, as you go back to your seats to do your free writing, I want you to consider your dot. Okay, what can you put on the page? Maybe I started one quick story the other day about the girl's nightmare came to life. It says, today my worst nightmare came true, literally my worst nightmare, straight out of my sleep-induced brain and into my bedroom, and now it's just staring at me, and I am trying not to pee my pants. Yeah. So that was the piece that I started. I don't know anything about, I don't know why the nightmare is there. I don't know if it's going to interact with her. I don't know how they're going to interact. I don't know if it matters why they interact. I tried to describe the nightmare, and then I'm like, I just don't care anymore. So then you know what I did? I skipped a line. Okay. So often we feel if we don't have the whole story, we have no reason to write. So instead of being worried about the whole story, get a dot of the story. Okay, maybe you're going to, like, maybe you have a character standing in a dark hallway with stone walls, and he, for some reason, it's a he in my brain, but it could be a she in your brain. I don't know. It could be a robot. I don't know. And they're holding a torch. And then someone last class, oh, what if it's a candle? Dude, a candle, like, you'd have to keep that thing lit, wouldn't you? And all I know is the characters in the hallway. I don't know why. I don't know what they're encountering. I don't know where they're going. I don't know anything. Could I write about that? Yes. Put words on paper. What's your dot going to be today? You have approximately 12 minutes to write. If you're going on a story, can you just keep going? Yep. If you want to start something new, can you do that? Yep. If you have a new idea list, we were just talking in the last class about an idea list called This One Time. Could you create that? Absolutely. All right, my writers. Peace.